Right now, your heart is beating. You are not thinking about it. You do not have to. It just happens 60 to 100 times every minute, without your permission, without your effort, without a single conscious thought on your part. But what happens the moment it stops? The real answer is far stranger than anything you have been told. Because death is not a moment. It is a process. And in the first 60 seconds, your body does not go quietly. Most people imagine death as a switch being flipped. 1 second you are here, the next you are not. But that is not what happens inside your cells, your neurons, your blood, your skin. What actually happens in that first minute is a biological cascade so complex, so precisely ordered, that scientists are still mapping it. And what they have found changes everything you thought you knew about the line between life and death. Let's start at 0. The moment your heart stops, blood ceases to circulate. This sounds simple. It is not. Your blood was doing hundreds of things simultaneously, carrying oxygen to every organ, removing waste, regulating temperature, delivering hormones, maintaining pressure in your vessels. The instant circulation stops, all of those processes begin failing at different speeds. Not at once, in sequence. Like a city losing power district by district. The first thing to go is your brain. Your brain is the most metabolically demanding organ in your body. It consumes roughly 20% of all the oxygen you breathe, despite being only 2% of your body weight. Neuroscientist Sam Parnia, who has spent decades studying the boundary between life and death at Stony Brook University, describes the brain as being on a razor's edge at all times, perpetually one interruption away from catastrophic failure. The moment oxygenated blood stops arriving, your neurons begin to struggle within seconds. Within 10 seconds of cardiac arrest, you lose consciousness. Not slowly, not gradually. The lights go out fast. Your neurons, starved of oxygen and glucose, begin to lose their electrical charge. The coordinated firing patterns that produce your thoughts, your sense of self, your awareness of the room around you, they begin to collapse. This is why people who experience sudden cardiac arrest report no awareness of the event itself. One moment they were present, then they were not. But here is the counterintuitive part. Your neurons do not die in those first 10 seconds. They are struggling, they are failing, but they are not dead. And this distinction matters enormously. Researcher David Greer at Boston Medical Center has documented cases of meaningful brain activity continuing for minutes after cardiac arrest. Not the quiet hum of a fading signal, but organized, structured electrical patterns. The dying brain is not simply switching off. In some documented cases, it appears to be doing something far more active in those final seconds. What that activity represents remains one of the most contested questions in neuroscience. Meanwhile, in the rest of your body, the cascade continues. Your lungs stop exchanging gas. The oxygen already dissolved in your blood begins to be consumed by your tissues. But without new oxygen arriving, this reserve is gone within minutes. Your cells, which have been running on oxygen their entire lives, begin switching to an emergency backup system called anaerobic metabolism. It is less efficient. It produces lactic acid as a byproduct. It buys time, but not much. Your skin begins to change almost immediately. The tiny muscles that control your blood vessels, called smooth muscle, start to relax without the chemical signals telling them to stay contracted. This causes blood to drain from the capillaries near the surface of your skin. The pink or brown tone your skin normally has begins to fade. Depending on your circulation patterns in those final seconds, blood may pool in some areas and drain completely from others. The color shift is one of the first visible signs, and it begins within the first minute. Your pupils dilate. The muscles controlling your pupil size require constant neurological signaling to stay in their normal range. Without that signal, the iris muscles relax and the pupil expands to its widest position. This is one reason physicians check pupil response. It is a fast, visible indicator of whether the brain is still generating the signals needed to control involuntary muscle function. Your body temperature begins to drop. Not dramatically in the first minute, that process takes hours to complete fully, but the mechanism starts immediately. Your body generates heat as a byproduct of metabolism. The moment cellular metabolism begins to slow, heat production slows with it. Your core temperature will eventually equilibrate with the environment around you, but in the first 60 seconds, the change is subtle and internal. Your cells are still alive. This is the part almost nobody talks about. When your heart stops, your individual cells do not immediately die. They are still there, still intact, still holding the genetic code that built you, still containing the cellular machinery that kept you running. They are running out of oxygen. They are beginning to shift into emergency mode, but they are alive. And this is not a minor footnote. It is the entire basis of modern transplant medicine. The window between cardiac death and true cellular death is measurable, exploitable, and in some circumstances, reversible. Physician and researcher Sam Parnia has documented cases of successful resuscitation after periods that would previously have been considered definitive death. The technical term is resuscitation science, and its central finding is unsettling in the best possible way. The boundary we call death is not where we thought it was. It is further out. It is fuzzier, and it is, in certain circumstances, crossable in both directions. Your body, in that first minute, is not dead in the way we use the word casually. It is in a state of suspended transition. A biological process that began the moment your heart stopped is unfolding in strict sequence. Brain function failing, blood pooling, cells switching to emergency power, temperature beginning to drift, pupils opening wide. Each of these events follows the last in the same order, in every human body, in every death. This sequence has been mapped. It has been studied. It has been, in some cases, interrupted and reversed. And the fact that it can be interrupted changes the question entirely. Because if death is a process and not a moment, if the first 60 seconds are not the end but the beginning of a transition, then what exactly is the line we are drawing when we say someone is gone? Scientists like Parnia and Greer are not asking this question philosophically. They are asking it clinically, with data, with defibrillators and cooling protocols and resuscitation timelines. Right now, somewhere in the world, a heart has just stopped. And in the next 60 seconds, a body is doing exactly what yours will one day do, following the same ancient sequence, cell by cell, system by system, moving through the same precise biological steps that every human body before it has taken. Not a switch being flipped, a process beginning. And the most remarkable thing science has learned about that process is not how final it is. It is how slowly and how stubbornly your body refuses to let go.